Australia, an isolated island continent, unlike anywhere else in the world. Home to one of the most controversial predators on the planet, with a unique story. It is winter, and in dens across the country, a new generation of dingoes are born. Each pack's alpha female gives birth to a litter of about 6 pups. Still blind, they immediately bond with their mother, picking up details about their surroundings from her milk and fur. In just 3 weeks, they will emerge to an uncertain future and a battle to prove their worth as Australia's top predator. The story of the Australian dingo began around 5,000 years ago, following their introduction by Indonesian fishermen. To the Aboriginal people who had been living here for 40,000 years, dingoes became a vital part of Aboriginal life, adopted as totems and spirits. They guarded camp against intruders and accompanied them on hunting trips. But some dogs turned wild and headed into the outback. They found a land of wide open plains, perfectly suited to these powerful animals. Here, they quickly established themselves as the top predator, as Australia's wolf. But everything changed with the arrival of European settlers in the 18th century, when dingoes attacked their livestock and bred with their domestic dogs. Settlers saw them as nothing more than feral and rebranded them as pests. So began 2 centuries of persecution, an attitude that still persists. Today, only dingoes with tan coats and white paws are considered real dingoes. The rest are routinely killed. But not everyone agrees with this view. Dr. Brad Purcell of the University of Western Sydney has spent the last 8 years studying dingo packs in the Blue Mountains, just 60 kilometers from Sydney's suburbs. He thinks dingoes should be judged by their actions, not by their looks.
When I began to study these dingoes, my idea of what they should look like was exactly the same as everybody else's. Tan dogs with white paws. But 8 years of research has changed that view, and it's confirmed my controversial theories. Dingoes come in many different colours and different shapes. They may not always look like classic dingoes, but they've always acted like them.
Brad thinks Australia's outdated attitude towards dingoes needs to change.
They are our top land predator, vital to the balance of natural Australia.
The southern Blue Mountains are home to around 500 dingoes, split into about 60 packs. Brad's study site is in the Burragarang Valley, an area of thick bush and abandoned pastures. Ideal habitat for emus and kangaroos, both perfect prey for dingoes. It's been called the Valley of the Dogs. Their behavior has been instrumental in changing Brad's mind about the importance of dingoes. What he is discovering could help him save the lives of tens of thousands of dingoes right across the country and protect the environment in which they live. Australia is home to nearly 1 million plants and animals, which are very different to those found in the rest of the world. The dingo's position as top land predator helps maintain this diversity. They are considered the most difficult of all the wild dogs to get close to, a consequence of 200 years of persecution. It takes time and patience to track them down.
Just going to head towards the trees because there's a bird going off. And it's doing an alarm call, means there might be a dog. Quite a big burrow down there with a possible den.
This is the best time of year to find dingo packs, as the newly emerged pups rarely venture far from the den.
Can't see any dogs there yet. Just going to walk across this ridge a little bit more. There's a dog track going up the hill. There's a dog track down here coming down the hill. Another couple of kangaroo tracks. It's a good spot.
Every season gives Brad the opportunity to discover more about what it takes to be a dingo. This starts by watching the newborn pups.
Yeah, they're all huddled together. Must be trying to get out of the window. I can see one black and tan one and at least 3 tan coloured pups. Hopefully tomorrow morning there's less wind. We'll be able to come in and hopefully it's nice and sunny down there as well, so the pups are out and they're playing. And there might even be some adults around if we're lucky. Gosh, it's cold.
The distant city glow and steady stream of plains is a reminder that Sydney and its 4 million people live just over the hill. Urbanization is a constant pressure on dingoes.
Alrighty, we are on.
Close to the mouth of the den, 6 pups soak up the early morning sun. About 8 weeks old, they probably came above ground about a month ago. They are a mix of colours, typical of what Brad has been seeing here in the Blue Mountains, and of modern dingoes across much of Australia.
Just near Murphy's Crossing, just down there, so there's plenty of water nearby. With the water there's going to be plenty of food as well. I might have to call these guys Murphy's Pack, I reckon.
The first few weeks are vital for the pups as they start to learn how to live in a pack. Play fighting establishes dominance and helps to determine their role in the pack for the rest of their lives.
Playing with toys helps the pups to develop. They're learning how to defend their prey, how to ambush, how to challenge for kills, and when to back out. If one of these pups can hold on to the toy for the longest, then they might become a more dominant animal in the future.
One pup is immediately standing out. Brad names the black one Ulu, which comes from the local Aboriginal language for only. He looks very un-dingo-like, but he is showing all the attributes of a pack leader of the future. The arrival of the alpha male brings a change of mood to the den site. The pups and a young adult instantly become submissive. Their tails between their legs, a sure sign of submission. He asserts his position of power. This is a lesson in hierarchy for Ulu.
Transmission of behaviour between the adults and the pups. They're starting to act very similarly in terms of hierarchy and how the pack's going to be structured for the future. What we're seeing down here is what real dingoes do. They live in the wild in packs. They help each other out really to raise their pups and live a wild life.
A good, solid pack structure is vital for wild dogs right around the world and has helped the dingo become Australia's top-order predator. At first, they had competition from 2 other predators, both of which had been here for millions of years. The Tasmanian devil is an opportunistic hunter capable of taking down prey even larger than itself. Devils are, however, predominantly scavengers, feeding on carrion, using their powerful jaws to clean up the entire carcass. Thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger, was a largely solitary hunter that preyed on species smaller than itself. Neither species was able to adapt to changes in Australia's landscape. Dingoes, on the other hand, were adaptable, powerful pack hunters, capable of traveling great distances and taking down prey much larger than themselves. Some were also able to survive by scavenging. As a result, they thrived, while the devil and the thylacine became extinct on the mainland, leaving the dingo as top predator, a story unique to Australia. But this meteoric rise was short-lived. Interbreeding with domestic dogs changed their appearance. Killing livestock altered opinions. Australians rebranded dingoes as pests. In 1880, work began on a 5,000-kilometre pest exclusion fence to keep dingoes out of the fertile farmland of the southeast. It took 5 years to complete and is still the longest man-made structure in the world. Any dingoes caught on the wrong side of it were killed. Some, however, like the packs of the Burragarang Valley, survived. And Brad believes they have retained enough of their dingo ancestry to still be called dingoes, and has seen behavior to prove it. In November 2006, Brad was working in a part of the valley dominated by old farms and abandoned pasture. It has ample grazing and plenty of prey. When he spotted one of his study packs, they were behaving in a manner that would change the way he saw dingoes forever.
It was a really windy afternoon, and as I came over the hill, I saw all the kangaroos were on edge, and then they scattered, except for one. It was surrounded by 6 dingoes, and it bolted down the hill. So I ran down with my camera and got here just as they took it down in front of the house. What happened next was the dingoes had surrounded the kangaroo, but the kangaroo couldn't move because they'd torn the hamstrings, and the pups were just biting at the soft fleshy bits, so they were pulling on the ears and they were still biting at the hamstring area. They were eating the genitals, and it was pretty gruesome. But the most interesting part was the adults were sitting around in the background watching the pups finish the kill. So this was a lesson on killing kangaroos for these pups. What was unique about this pack is that they weren't the traditional dingo colour. They were the multicoloured pack, and they looked like a bunch of feral domestic wild dogs hunting native prey. But what I saw was traditional dingo predatory behaviours, because they were hunting native prey, and they were teaching the pups how to kill, and they were acting like real dingoes.
For Brad, witnessing this behaviour was pivotal. He now believed the actions of dingoes was far more important than the way they looked. And the passing on of their knowledge through the generations is vital to the survival of the packs. No lesson is more important than teaching the pups what to eat. An adult brings back the remains from a kill. It looks like the tail of a swamp wallaby or wallaroo. Ulu is given plenty of time to smell and taste it. while the adult seemingly keeps the other pups at bay. But there is more to this than just food.
And what they're doing is teaching the pups about the different flavours of meat and the smells that are associated with that meat. So when the pups go out hunting in the future, they might smell a swamp wallaby and think to themselves, I know that smell, I can eat that. And then they'll start hunting swamp wallaby.
Without these lessons, the pups don't know what to hunt, which can result in them attacking easier prey, like farm animals.
We don't want these pups to become problem dogs, so we need to actually make sure that the adults stay alive and can teach the pups how to live in the wild.
This is essential pack behaviour from a part of Australia where real dingoes are not thought to live. Through pack schooling, the pups will grow up to be effective predators, ensuring that grazing animals do not get out of control, so maintaining the natural balance. To find out how his Blue Mountain packs compare with other dingoes in Australia, Brad travels to Fraser Island. Situated 1,000 kilometres north of Sydney, this sandbar island lies outside of the dingo fence. It is thought to be one of the last places so-called real dingoes can still be found.
These are Fraser Island dingoes. Some people say that they're the most pure dingo in all of Australia, but look at them, they're habituated. They've become used to scavenging scraps from fishermen and from tourists they leave down here on the beach. All they had to do was get out of the car, come walking down, and they've come running up to see if they can steal some food from me. It's a very different behaviour to what I've observed for dingoes in the Blue Mountains over the last 8 years.
These dingoes live in the south of the island and regularly come into contact with tourists. They're opportunistic animals that quickly learn how to take an easy meal. This one has already been tagged as a problem dog. But this kind of human-dingo interaction is not safe. Dingoes have one of the most powerful bites of all the world's dogs, and when they work in a pack, are formidable predators. It is unwise to get too close. In 2001, a 9-year-old boy was attacked and killed here by 2 dingoes that had lost their fear of humans. Once they become aggressive problem animals, they are shot. Just behind the dunes lives the Yurong Beach Pack. It's a familiar story of dominance. But what is unfamiliar is how close Brad can get to them. These look like real dingoes, but in no way are they serving their function in the environment. Which confirms to Brad that dingoes should be categorized by their behavior, not by what they look like. The further they are from people, the more naturally they behave. Roaming the beaches, feeding on crabs and turtle eggs. In the